This was our last day in Seoul. But before we headed to our next destination, a bus trip to the Demilitarized Zone or DMZ waited for us. The bus would take us to Imjingak Park first, an hour's ride away from Seoul. But as I suffered from motion sickness, I took medicine and passed out on the bus. I opened my eyes in Imjingak Park. Our tour guide, Mr. Tommy, gave us a heads up on what we should expect from this half-day tour, which included a gondola ride overlooking the DMZ in Imjingak Park. But you need to opt for the ride beforehand while you reserve bus tickets. Imjingak Park, located 7 kilometers away from DMZ, which separated North and South Korea, sat with its parks filled with tragic stories from the Korean War. You will find the Freedom Bridge, which was constructed to represent those who died during the Korean War, which started on 25th June 1950 and continued until 27 July 1953, resulting in the separation of the country into two halves. A steam locomotive with more than 1,020 bullet holes and bent wheels stood as evidence of the cruelties during the war. Women used for comfort also paid a separate price in the Korean War. Just adjacent to the buses, there was the Korean Peninsula Ecological Peace Tourism Information Center. We got a chance to use the restrooms and waited for Tommy to guide us about what to do next. Meanwhile, a few of our co-passengers grabbed some breakfast from the eateries. Even we wanted to have something as we skipped our complimentary breakfast in Hotel Mid-City, but we had booked a gondola ride. So, suggesting our stomachs to exercise some more patience, we got inside the gondola ride, which was a cable car. The cable car would take us to the other side of the Freedom Bridge, which was not North Korea, of course. The Freedom Bridge was there to remind me of what this country had gone through in the past. The bridge saw the exchange of the prisoners of war and the crushing of millions of dreams about a bright future. Anyway, after reaching the other side, Forbidden Place gave us some hope for a fulfilling breakfast. I found the name interesting though. The floor-to-ceiling glass windows allowed us a front view of the gondolas carrying passengers from both sides. However, I wish they had more breakfast options for us. The bread looked interesting among the pork sandwiches. And after our quick breakfast, the gondola took us back to the bus depot and we started for the real attraction of this trip, DMZ. As the bus driver took the bus closer to DMZ, Tommy told us how even after so many years of the Korean War, the relationship between North and South Korea hadn't improved much. From involving in petty competitions like who could raise their national flags higher to serious issues like planting landmines and claiming lives, the two countries often behaved like bickering neighbors. Engrossed in his stories, I didn't realize when we reached the checkpoint of DMZ. A soldier stopped inside the bus and checked every minute detail of our passports and the registration list we signed after boarding the bus. Even a fly was not allowed to enter the zone without permission. When we came out, the sun blazed above our heads. We entered a building where we lined up with other tourists to enter a small-sized movie theater. The movie showed the wounds Korea had to suffer because of the war and how North Korea was still trying to invade South Korea in some way or other. The most prominent example of the attempts of North Korea to attack its southern counterpart was the discovery of the third tunnel in DMZ itself in 1978. Several evidences have been established that North Korea built this tunnel to enter South Korea. We had to leave our bags, mobile phones, and cameras inside a locker before they took us inside that 1.6 kilometers long tunnel. That's why I couldn't record anything inside the tunnel. Then the bus took us to Dora Observatory. The walk inside the third tunnel was a tiring one, so even the short uphill walk to the observatory from the bus made my knees shake. Still, the short walk under the scorching sun was worth it, as it gave me a glimpse of the mysterious North Korea from the observatory. South Korea's northern neighbor is always in the news for wrong reasons, making its image blurred before the rest of the world. No set of free telescopes can clear that image for tourists. Anyway, another 15 minutes ride brought us to Daisongdong, the unification village on DMZ. Around 450 people lived in this village, mostly retired soldiers. The unification village was governed by South Korea. The main occupation of the residents was farming. However, the government exempted them from paying taxes. One elementary school existed, and the houses had no front gates as robbery was uncommon in this area. But life in DMZ was not an easy one, and night curfew was a norm. Soybean and ginseng were the main crops harvested. We enjoyed the dairy-free ice cream made of soy and then went on a shopping spree for DMZ labeled products inside the local grocery store. When the bus started taking us back to Seoul, I had already experienced another South Korea beyond the glamorous world of K-dramas, and I would not use the word hunky-dory to describe that world.